Welcome to this short talk on Emile Durkheim's work, Suicide, published in 1897. Please pause the video if you need to make notes. If this talk is useful, please like and subscribe. There are plenty more to come. Durkheim's study of suicide was a groundbreaking study which not only laid the foundation for much of modern sociology but also provided profound insights into the social factors influencing individual behavior. Durkheim's central theory in suicide revolves around the concept of social integration and regulation. He proposed that the rate of suicide in a society is influenced by the degree to which individuals are integrated into social groups and the extent to which their desires and behaviors are regulated by societal norms. Durkheim identified 4 types of suicide based on the levels of social integration and regulation. Egoistic suicide. This occurs when individuals feel detached from the social community. Low integration leads to feelings of isolation and meaninglessness. Durkheim observed that this type of suicide was more common in societies where individualism was highly valued, such as in Protestant communities compared to Catholic ones, which emphasized collective religious practices. Altruistic suicide. In contrast, this type happens when individuals are overly integrated into a group, leading them to sacrifice their lives for the group's benefit. Examples include soldiers who die in battle or individuals in certain traditional societies who commit suicide for the honor of their family or community. Anomic suicide. This type arises from a lack of regulation, often during times of social or economic upheaval, where societal norms are disrupted. Durkheim noted that during periods of economic boom or bust, the sudden changes in society's structure could lead to increased rates of anomic suicide due to the breakdown of social norms and expectations. Fatalistic suicide. This occurs under conditions of excessive regulation, where individuals' futures are oppressively controlled, leading to a sense of hopelessness. Although less emphasized in his work, Durkheim mentioned this type in contexts such as slavery or oppressive regimes where individuals see no escape from their harsh conditions. Durkheim's interest in studying suicide stemmed from his broader quest to understand how society influences individual behavior. He was particularly intrigued by the idea that what seems like a deeply personal act could be shaped by social forces. Durkheim believed that by studying suicide, he could uncover the social factors that contribute to this phenomenon, thereby demonstrating the power of social integration and regulation in shaping human actions. Durkheim's methodology was pioneering for its time. He employed a comparative method, analyzing statistical data from various countries to identify patterns and correlations. By examining different social contexts, he was able to argue convincingly that suicide rates were not merely a result of individual psychological factors but were significantly influenced by social structures. Durkheim's approach involved the use of multivariate statistical analysis, considering factors such as country, marital status, religion, and education level to explain variations in suicide rates. He meticulously gathered and analyzed data from official records in countries like France, England, and Denmark, comparing suicide rates among different religious groups, marital statuses, and economic conditions. One of the key strengths of Durkheim's work is its rigorous empirical approach. He meticulously gathered and analyzed data, which lent credibility to his arguments. For instance, he used data from official records in countries like France, England, and Denmark, comparing suicide rates among different religious groups, marital statuses, and economic conditions. However, his work is not without criticism. Some scholars argue that Durkheim's reliance on official statistics may have overlooked underreported cases of suicide, particularly in rural areas or among marginalized groups. Additionally, his focus on social factors has been critiqued for downplaying the role of individual psychological conditions, such as mental illness, which can also significantly contribute to suicidal behavior. Another major critique is the potential for ecological fallacy in Durkheim's conclusions. This fallacy occurs when inferences about individual behavior are drawn from aggregate data. Critics argue that Durkheim's conclusions about individual suicides based on societal-level data might be misleading. For example, differences in suicide rates between Protestants and Catholics could be influenced by how these groups record deaths, with Protestants more likely to categorize ambiguous deaths as suicides compared to Catholics. Despite these critiques, Durkheim's suicide remains a cornerstone in the field of sociology. It challenged the prevailing notions of the time and opened up new avenues for understanding the complex interplay between individual actions and social forces. His work continues to inspire sociologists and researchers, highlighting the importance of considering social context in the study of human behavior.